Hey, what's going on, everybody? This episode of Reminiscent is brought to you by Of Brighter Skies, a pop-punk band from Madison, Wisconsin, who's very excited to release their new single and music video for the song Bad Guy, which you're listening to right now. I want to thank Of Brighter Skies so much for sponsoring this episode, and you will hear this song in its entirety at the end of the episode. So make sure to stick around and check out our show notes to find the links of where you can stream the new song, watch the music video, like the band on Facebook, all of that stuff. And if you would like to hear your band's music in this podcast, check out reminiscentpodcast.com/sponsor. Thank you so much. Now to the Yellowcard episode. What is going on, everybody? I'm Tom.
And I'm Pat.
We're best friends, and you're listening to the Reminiscent Podcast. Going back to the Yellowcard, well, Pat, lots to talk about. We're doing the Ocean Avenue episode.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting in the sense that there are no rules, and we can I forgot that we could even just do the whole album version. We did the music video, which is honestly a very nice little short film. But, you know, when you look at albums that are front to back stuff we were really, really super duper into, this is one of them. And it's worth talking about. And emotionally, this album is all over the place. So it's been a pretty interesting week getting ready. So I don't know if, I don't want to dive right in, but I don't know if did you sense that? Did you feel that? Like from song to song, it's like, how many highs and lows and super highs and super lows are there on this freaking thing?
Are there highs? It's mostly like...
Well, good point. I would say he's trying to get away from people. People are dead. Friends, lovers. And he's longing for people. He's far away from people. It's, I don't know, it's like, will they, won't they type shit. I don't know. It's just, sorry, I was trying to curse less. That's my one. I already used my one so early and for not even comedic timing or purposes at all. Yeah, we'll get into it. What we do have, and I don't know if you want to do this first, is just an astounding number of fan mail entries this week. I was shocked and very happy. This has become a nice little pandemic emo club we've developed. And it really brightens my weeks and days. I don't know if you feel the same. I'm sure you do.
Yeah, it's kind of awesome to be like, hey, share your takes and get like 10 of them from a lot of people on a lot of different platforms, which is really cool. I mean, we had Patreon supporters.
Oh, you moved the spiciest of the spicy up to the top, which is somebody edited this doc since the last time I've seen it.
Well, hey, here's the thing. Patrick is a Patreon supporter. We will share his take first.
Much love. Okay, that's fine. And it is by far, if I do say so, the spiciest. Do you mind if I read it for you?
Yeah, let's go for it.
By the way, keep an eye out on our Twitter feed and usually our Instagram stories as well, but mostly on Twitter. If you don't know by now, @_reminiscent_FM. If you want to get a hold of us, we read that the most, those mentions. If you ever see a tweet calling for, I have no idea what that was supposed to be, a tweet calling for spicy takes. Anyway, spicy take number 1, coming from Patrick, Patreon supporter Patrick, Patreon Patrick. A hot spicy take.
Little pee-pee, we call him.
Quote, we've always called him, our one of our Patreon supporters, just calling him names right off the top. We are professionals here, folks. Little pee-pee. Quote, take away the violin, and no one knows about Yellowcard.
Oh, man.
Damn. That was exhaling SpongeBob meme.gif. OMG, dude. That is wild. And I don't know if that's necessarily accurate, but I don't know if it's necessarily 100% inaccurate.
I don't know.
That's about that's spice. That's pure spice coming in from other lands. It's been on a ship for a while from other worlds. What is this spice? I don't even know it. I can't recognize it. Wow. It continues, quote, they'd still be a great band, in parentheses, breathing, would still effing slap, end parentheses. But I feel like they pulled the, quote, hey, we're different, we have a violin, end quote, card, and we all ate it up.
End quote.
End tweet, I should say. Yeah, there's a quote inside the quote. How do you quote a quote?
Within a dream.
So he saves it there. They'd still be a great band, and some of the songs on this record would still slap indeed. But that's he's throwing the gauntlet down as far as spicy takes go. And any thoughts?
It's interesting that, like, I would guess someone that thought that would think Yellowcard is like a bullshit band. So it was interesting that, like, Breathing is a great song, but without the violin, they would just be another pop punk band. That's really hard. I think we should put a poll up on Twitter, because I don't like super disagree, but I don't agree either. It's a pretty good little mental experiment on that one.
I would say the violin made them like, hey, did you hear this band? They have a violin.
Right. They were definitely made them a talking piece.
Exactly. So I think there's something to be said for what the violin did for them in terms of, hey, did you check out this band Yellowcard? But Ocean Avenue was a hit, a radio hit, and we'll get into Katie's submission for this thing next on that one here. But it was a radio hit before without a lot of violin, and it was kind of catchy. I think it would have done the job anyhow. But I think it did add to their whole vibe. I will say that. I think Patrick's got a point. And yeah, Katie, moving in right into hers, she tweets,
who I think is also the Patreon. That's Katie, the Patreon supporter as well, right? So, oof.
KP, Katie Patreon. That one works a little better. That's not an instant.
Right?
Yes. KP, I like them both. It's not my spicy take to give. The always humble KP. But essentially, Yellowcard suing Juice WRLD because Key, as in the lead singer, Ryan Key, was mad about their only big song being Ocean Avenue. Oof. And tweet. Ooh.
Yikes. I don't know this I don't
just
really
a firm yikes from Tom.
I don't really know the controversy around this.
I had no idea. I didn't hear that. I thought they were plenty big. But I had heard, you hear rumblings, not like we know people. We're not like well-sourced music journalists. We are, in fact, the exact opposite of that. But, you hear stuff about Key being a spicy individual himself, as far as
kind of an asshole, they say.
That's what they say. I've never met the man, but I could see him being like, what about the other tunes? Of which there were many, which we'll get into as we start to, play the is this a God tier song game when we get to the tracks. But interesting point by Katie there. I would be mad too, because there are the first four. I was kind of shocked. I was like, damn, they go in. And then there's like some late album track. That's the episode we're doing. So I'm not going to burn the whole episode in 2 sentences before we get into it. Adrian tweets, people love to talk about the violin, but, well, we're already talking about the violin, so he's right. But Yellowcard has something even more rare than that going for them. A POC band member, a person of color band member, which is incredibly accurate. The subgenre that we deal with has no rare versions of any type of diversity whatsoever, whether it's gender or race or anything like that. It is, I don't know, no fewer than 99%. Maybe that's not correct, but just white dudes singing about
white girls
that don't want them, but probably gave them a fair, kind of unfairly framing relationships, most likely. So is it a problematic subgenre? Yes, 100%. Excellent point by Adrian. Jeremy, our bud, quote, I'm listening now, and here's my hot take. He even sets it up rather nicely. It's hard to take them seriously in 2020 with that damn fiddle being so loud. The violin, this was in a separate tweet. The violin, excuse me for calling it a fiddle in parentheses, set them apart, which I guess we've come to agree with in these first few newsletter items here. Set them apart, but old man Levine doesn't like it, LOL. Breathing. Well, that was one tweet. That was one take. Which, okay, so how do you feel about the violin aging? Well or not well?
Indifferent almost. It was so new and sexy at the time. I remember when I was 12, some kid wanted to start a band with me, and it was a pop punk band, and they definitely had a violin player because it was it was 2003. It was a hot thing, and I don't think it's aged poorly, but some of the appeal and the effect has worn off in the past 17 years.
I will say I know Jeremy likes Thursday enough to make this tweet not make sense. The violin is at no point any more annoying than any given Thursday worst part of the song. Man, I am struggling today. Moving on. No, he had one more point. Breathing is the best song by far on the record. I feel like it has a certain level of aggression that's missing from the rest of the album.
Yeah.
We'll get into that. We won't get song specific here, but Dylan did have his take on what the best song on the album is. View from Heaven is the best song on Ocean Avenue. Dylan
Which is
tweets.
like the
Also,
polar opposite of Breathing. So that's interesting.
Emotionally all over the place. I'm going to stick with that theme throughout the episode here. Also, the idea that one of the Dixie Chicks was wanted by the band to be backing vocals for that song, but the record label wouldn't support them in getting her is just remarkable now, end tweet. What? Dang. Dylan and Katie bring in some serious heat in terms of factoids I had no idea about. How about you?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just the chicks at this.
Yeah,
time
it'd be
place.
weird because it'd be like, yeah, they wanted a chick on the record to sing backing vocals. It's hard to identify, but yes, they have since rightfully changed the band name. That would have been awesome in so many ways. That's like almost 80% of my childhood things I liked at the time.
Oh yeah,
so.
Right.
A Dixie Chick on Yellowcard's Ocean Avenue in any capacity would have been fantastic. It's unfortunate. It sounds like Mr. Key and the label didn't see eye to eye on a few
apparently
things.
In their next record, a chick did sing on it. So he eventually got what he was looking for.
If you write Ocean Avenue, you can do what you want.
Right.
And it's not like he's the only lead singer to ever like clash with a label. So again, we've never met that man. So here's the final one. Nick on Instagram. Not necessarily a hot take. Don't be so modest, Nick.
A lot of humility from our listeners.
I know you guys are you guys are. Come on, if you're gonna keep it spicy. I know you guys are like, I don't mean to be too spicy, but the violin was the only reason they were good. It's like, oh,
it's blazing.
Yeah, half of these have been blazing, but you start off like twiddling your thumbs and fingers, like looking down at your shoes and stuff. Well, I don't mean to be a bother, but the inside cover of YC had a dude with a faux hawk, and I rocked one because of that image from 6th to 12th grade.
Yeah.
In parentheses, maybe the introduction of the faux hawk. Nick went from not necessarily a hot take to I might have invented the faux hawk, which is a glow up within a tweet. Also, Way Away goes so, in all caps with a lot of O's, much harder than Ocean Avenue. Way Away does go pretty hard. We'll get into it. A lot of claims about what the best song on the record is, which song goes the hardest. This might not be the thing you're looking for, but I may have invented the faux hawk is some strong stuff from Nick. I love it. I gotta say, I like it a lot. Thanks again @_reminiscentfm on Twitter. This is the highlight of our week that you guys are here with us. So I hope you're all staying safe, and thanks for joining us. We are going to hit track one or some fast facts. What's the move here?
The only fast fact that I really want to give after those takes is kind of just like the production line of this album. It's interesting that they wouldn't give them a chick because they threw everything they had at this record. Neil Avron, producer and the engineer, is like probably the biggest producer in this genre. Tom Lord Alge was the mix engineer, who was like a legendary mix engineer, did Angels and Airwaves. I mean, most records you can think of, probably half of them were mixed by Tom Lord Alge. And Ted Jensen was the mastering engineer, who, like, all these people are the best of the best. Like, they were going for multi-platinum record, which this is. So it's interesting they wouldn't give them just one Dixie chick to sing on the record because they gave them everything else.
I could see that.
They went for it. It was full send for sure. And when we get to the song Ocean Avenue, I think it's pretty clear why this was the leading single, why this was the top 40 grab, and why it got it. But that's track.
I'm curious if they asked for the Courtyard Hounds, they would have gotten them. But if they wanted Natalie or something, it would have been different.
I don't know.
I'm half joking, but I only know that the Courtyard Hounds are 2 of the 3 chicks. And I got my sister that CD a long time ago for one of the Christmases. But yeah, maybe he was asking for the main chick But maybe perhaps had he asked for the Courtyard Hounds, things would have been different. Who's to say? I'm just kidding. Okay. Avron. He's one of the what? There's like 4 or 5 people that come up a lot on the show. He's definitely one of them.
He's like the main one. I mean, probably 60, 70% of the band.
Well, there's like a producer guy. That's him. And then there's like a music video person, which is like a different.
Which one of the music video guys did Ocean Avenue, Mark Webb.
Mark Webb.
There we go.
So we got Yellowcard, the system, the man, if you will, was like, yes, let us make them famous now. And get Neil on the phone, get Webb on the phone. It's going down. People will be talking about the fiddle for days, weeks. Okay. So this is a game we play when we do album episodes sometimes. But do you want to catch people up if they are maybe just joining us?
Oh, we're just going to go track by track. And are we doing the ABC God tier thing or?
Yeah.
Okay. Whew. I didn't prepare.
So sometimes we rank, well, it's going to be raw. You came here, it's real, it's raw. This is real life, guys. Sometimes we try to rank the tracks on albums we really, really know. And we really, really know this one, but not all of them. I mean, some of the songs just, I don't know. I felt like the God tier game was a little better for this one. Let's start with the first track. Let's just dive in. Let's do it. We don't have to be.
Yeah.
We don't have to roll. Yeah. Hey, we don't have to. Hey, let's do it. Let's get after
Way
it.
Away. It
Way
is
Away.
Out of the gate. Just
out of the gate,
like a 10 out of 10 in terms of energy, emotion.
10 out of 10.
Fiddle,
emotion, energy.
And dude, it just feels so. Well, let's talk about the music. It is just blazing. Not to use your phrase, but it is.
I was gonna say, yes. Oh, it truly is. And they're not. And something I noticed on the first 2 tracks, they are not exactly shying away from the whole violin thing. Early on, we're getting violin riffs right in your ear hole for sure.
Yeah, they're really showing us like who they are, what they're here to do. And by the way, this is like their 4th album or something. Like they are not a new band and they're still like, this is who we are. This is what you can expect. And I think they kind of, for the most part, deliver this energy throughout the album, especially the first 3 songs. But it's a really good intro to the vibe, the tone. It is so like pop punk and emo right out of the gate. With lyrics basically, I'm losing my mind, I'm going to leave you, this town is dead, I'm gone. It's just like opens so fucking hard.
I love the Hard Times article that says town wonders what it ever did to local pop punk band. It's it's everything you need. It's everything you need, right? Out of how it feels to be alone and not believe anything is like how it feels to be 14. So this is like made total sense to me at the time.
Yeah.
I remember somebody I didn't even, it was from Little League, but it wasn't through Iroquois or Lawrence Park or anything, but they lived in Lake Cliff with me. And they were just like, yeah, it's this thing. And he was like hanging out with girls who are our age in the neighborhood who didn't go to Lawrence Park. They went to like OLP or something. But I was like, how are there this many people in the world? You're even in my neighborhood. Like, who are you people? He was just walking around. They were like, they were just like people my age hanging out in this group that I had like tapped into. I'm like, I don't even know who the you people are. But anyway, they turned me on to Yellowcard. I'm like, all right, there you go. Anyway,
nice.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. It's not that crazy. It wasn't even that good of a story. But I'm going to say that this is an A. It's an A for me.
Oh, God.
While you think, can I say a little thing?
Yes.
I was listening to a podcast with Ryan Key, and I guess, you said they were banned for a long time before this. I guess they started out like in a skate thrash like scene or corner of their scene, and they used to be just super, super punky. And then they didn't, they spent some time developing this sound, as kind of a lot of bands do, but that was kind of interesting to me. Like some of the speed and some of the this that you still feel on this record, but it's like more polished and more different than what the early days of Yellowcard would have been, it sounds like.
Totally, yeah. Yeah, it's pretty raw, the earlier stuff, with some pretty non-PC album titles and stuff like that. But, dude, Jacksonville, Florida was kind of popping off around this time. It's pretty wild, but, really cool harmonies in the second chorus. I think they're really beautiful. It's this kind of stuff that makes me like really want to do a cappella covers of songs. The violin is being doubled by the lead guitar, which is kind of like, why is there even a violin there anyway? And the drummer, I'll talk about this more later, but I don't know how to pronounce his first name. It's like
Gary.
It looks like, but totally butchering it. Longino Parsons the third, LP3, we'll call him. I love that all of his fills is just him playing the snare drum as fast as possible. And it usually like sounds like a very immature, like undeveloped punk kind of thing to do. Just whatever. But something about the way he does it makes it feel so good, so right. I remember he does it all the time in Ocean Avenue, but just blasting on the snare drum, and it adds such a good energy to this song. I don't know if I want to give it like an A+, kind of leaning into God tier. I might just give it God tier because it's like a sick album opener. And the first three, when I think of like opening runs of songs, Ocean Avenue comes to mind as like the best 3 songs.
You reference this every few weeks on the show. You're
like,
I love the first half of this album more than I love myself, or something like that. I feel like. So I should have known that you were going to come out hot on this one. Yeah, there's something about like, I hate to sound like a dumb side character or like mentor in a movie, but like rock doesn't come from the, it comes from the heart, it comes from the soul. Like he can do fills fast, and if it works, I don't know. Yeah, there's something just raw but good about it, like you said. And then they don't really slow down for a while, but especially not in track 2. Breathing. Yeah. Just thunder continues to be broughton. Which that isn't a pun related to one of their later albums. You know what? No, that's Light and Sounds. I always read it as lightning. I couldn't be more off today, Tom. I am very sorry. There's nothing about lightning or weather in their album titles. And well,
except for Lift a Sail, Southern.
I appreciate you trying to help me out there, but you're allowed to tell me to. I'm just going to let you talk for a while.
All right. So this song, the snare is so overcompressed. The bass is just like grinding. It's so heavy. And the thing that it made me think of is like, you've talked about how fast you can ride your bike to certain songs, bands, albums. Like, how fast could you ride your bike to Ohio listening to this? Like, what percentage faster than if this was, say, something corporate? Who rocks, but not many people can rock as hard as Breathing comes out of the gate.
Probably really fast, because I was too young to realize he was singing about like being in bed with a girl. Like that was such a I was still so focused on like watching Jim and Pam in the early seasons of The Office when it was first airing. Like, oh, a head on a shoulder is the best, which it still is. But, like I didn't even think about this song being about like lying awake at night, wondering if you should be with the person who's next to you or whatever. But I was listening to it this week as like an adult, I guess. If I had been thinking those thoughts then, the bike would have gone slower. I would have just crumpled up into a ball in the street probably a little bit. But yeah, to answer your original question, very fast, because I don't think, it's just coming out of the gate. I don't know. Too hot to handle almost. Too hot to handle.
It rips, man. It keeps the energy going. It's kind of like, are we going to maintain this? Do I have the stamina to last 11 songs of this, Yeah,
it's not a question of them. It's like the listener. Do I have what it takes to continue listening? Yeah, like we mentioned earlier, another big strings track. They're not really shying away. They're just like, this is our band. This is how we sound, and it's coming. We're coming at you with everything we've got.
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna give it an A+. It's really good. I like that it has moments of just like the burner, just gets real. Those small moments of halftime. The guitars are so thick in this album. Like I would kill to mix.
They've got that girth.
Oh, they've got that girth, boy. I'll tell you what.
Do they ever? I'm gonna give it an A. Yeah. I don't want to really get too like. I don't want to zig or zag too much. I love this album, and these are both A. They're definitely in my head forever. They're good. I'm not sure either of them reached the level of the game yet. I'm not sure, but Ocean Avenue's next. We've done the music video episode. I don't know how much, we don't have to, dwell on this song too long.
Well,
or we can.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
I've got, first of all, we do.
It's the hit. Yeah, go ahead.
We do have an episode about the music video. I'll put a link in the show notes. Show notes for this episode. reminiscentpodcast.com/episode/165. But I got some anecdotes. Strap in, baby boy.
No.
Play the sample.
Yeah.
We go to the big kids table.
Yeah. Buckle up, soldier.
Which, Pat, by the way,
relive some. Yeah,
this is going to be a little inside, as people are going to have no idea what we're talking about.
No, they will.
The thing I just told you about before recording this, the big news.
Oh, the news.
I found out as I was listening to me wheezing in last episode about the anecdotes thing. So that's just for you, Pat. Everyone else can speculate. But
wow.
Yeah. Okay, so the drums in this, right? It's 2003. I heard this song before I heard the album. Our buddy Aaron Lonke kind of got me more into the albums when I only knew a couple singles, but Ocean Avenue is one of my favorite songs of all time. The God of God tiers. I'm just going to say that right now. Should be obvious. But I remember the drums just happening so fast in this song, and I was like pretty new into it. I wanted to learn how to play drums better. So I downloaded the music video on LimeWire, hoping to get some visuals of LP3 playing, and it only made me feel more confused, like with how fast he moves his arms. But
so you made a comment about those fills, but you were digging the fills.
Oh no, I mean it. Somehow he could just play the snare drum a bunch, and it sounds good. It's not the most creative.
But you were risking crazy viruses on your computer just to get a peek, just to get a glimpse of the man at work.
And I got the virus.
Pre-YouTube.
I'll tell you.
That's some pre-YouTube anecdotes. Not that you hadn't already contracted something to the computer.
Right.
Treatable, but
But you might have to wipe the whole hard drive. But if anyone is listening to the show that's a drummer, I would love to hear from you, because when I first started playing drums, I was downloading the music video of Basket Case, and Trey Cool plays with his everything kind of angled towards him. And that's how I set my drums up, because I thought that was cool. And I put the duct tape in different shapes on my toms and stuff. But after downloading this music video, I saw that LP3's drums were very flat. His cymbals were symmetrical, very parallel to the ground. And it totally changed everything. I started I need a crash on either side to have it parallel with the boom arm going out, so it's kind of framing me in the middle. And everything changed the second I saw this music video, trying to get my drums as many cymbals as possible, symmetry, parallel to the floor. I loved it. I loved the visuals and the aesthetics of his drum set. And yeah, dude, this song meant so much to me. It played every single day on the bus to 8th grade, which again, I went from Catholic school, K through 7, left for public school in 8th grade where I met Pat. And this song had just come out in 2003. They played on the school bus every day. It just reminds me of the best year of my formative years. And damn, dude, this song will never get old. It's just one of those songs. And Billboard actually named it one of the top 100 choruses of the 21st century. Ranked at number 98, barely making the list, just below Ashlee Simpson's Pieces of Me. Can we talk about how wrong they got that?
I disagree a lot.
Whoa.
When was the last time you took a seat on your little butt, on your little bum bum, and you put on some headphones and you listened to Pieces of Me by Ashlee Simpson? When was the last time you honestly listened to that song?
I don't know if I ever have honestly given it a fair shake, but come on, man.
You want to talk about Billboard worthy stuff? Just because she lip synced it doesn't mean the track that was laid down, whoever wrote it, whoever mixed it, whoever produced it, whoever sang it, whatever. Pieces of Me is an important song.
Okay.
That's my hottest take this week. Is you watch your mouth when you're talking about Ashlee Simpson's music career, because I don't know.
Okay.
Just
sure.
Here's everybody's homework this week. Listen to Pieces of Me and think about who wrote it or produced it or whatever. But whatever was laid down, regardless of the outside noise or the names involved, it's a nice thing. I like it.
All right. Well, let's talk about the song. Well, first of all, Mark Webb.
I know you're not going to, based on the tone that you just said in saying "all right," but I think you'd actually be like, "Oh, okay, yeah, it's pretty good." I think you'd like it.
So this was clearly destined to be the radio single. They had the music video. They hired Mark Webb, who has done like all of My Chemical Romance, done Hoobastank, every music video we've ever talked about. He's done most of them. Like legendary music video producer. It's just an incredible song. The way it starts out with just the guitar. And again, the thickest, girthiest guitars ever recorded, ever produced. The don't. And it's like there's intrigue. It's not blasting out of the gate like the first two. It kind of wants you to think like, oh, we're taking it down a little bit. We're going to hit you with some rhythms rather than just like playing as fast as we can,
speed.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And they stick to that rhythm like they're so dedicated to it. And usually...
Thoughts on the snare when it comes in at the beginning?
Oh, righteous.
He's coming in hard. It's a noticeable, I'm not a big drum, like process guy when I'm listening, or wasn't back in the day, but listening this week, it's like, oh, damn. Okay, there's drums. Drums have entered the chat. It's here now.
They're fat as I mean, Tom Lord Alge is like... He's very well known for like compressing his drums so hard, but it gives it that impact where it's like the drums.
It's a pop. I got to say, I like the pop.
The drum sounds like it's the size of like a living room,
Yeah.
You could, maybe that's the lesson. You can do a lot with 5.5 inches, which is the common depth of a snare drum.
The elements of these songs run deep, so deep they'll put your ass to sleep. Damn, we need to cut this running joke out of our lives forever, I think. All right. I think you want to God tier this one up? Real quick. The band you toured with loosely on that bus when you would dumpster dive for Little Caesars Pizza, no shame. I love that. I'm just saying that's what happened. It was called Run Forever.
Yep.
I know it's not a nod to this song, but I had to ask. Did they take it from the Run Forever in the lyrics to this song?
So Tony Heibel, who was the singer of the band, they called it cowpunk. It was like very early, like folk punk, mostly punk. It's hard to say that he wouldn't have been at least a little inspired by Yellowcard at one point in his life, having played in pop punk bands before. I don't think it would have necessarily been taken from... Their name would have been taken from it, but my second tattoo ever was Run Forever on my ankle. It was Run, Forever. And I might say it's a hybrid Yellowcard and tour tattoo. So.
They had a good band name too. Oh, it's Run Forever. That's what we're talking about.
Right.
Man, am I asleep right now? I am just massacring, Kansas City massacring this episode.
That was his other band, for those that don't know.
Yes, trying to save it here. Just jokes just for you and me, baby. And then if anyone else wants to hang out, that's cool. Yeah, real quick side question here, and we can speed through this in the interest of time. How'd you guys get your hands on a bus? How did Tony find a short bus?
They just bought it off some guy on Craigslist.
They just bought it. Okay, I guess, you can do a lot of damage in America. Just there's a lot of stuff for sale, things moving around. You just got a bus because there were bunks and stuff. I was jealous. It seemed like the most fun thing ever.
Yeah. No, it was like the best 2 weeks of my life.
Yeah. Shout out to Run Forever.
Yeah.
And for those running forever, as far as a life code of conduct.
A couple things here. There's like so much to talk about, but we're already running long. We have a whole episode on Ocean Avenue, one of the best songs ever written. But I have like a couple things that I wanted to say. First of all, they're from Jacksonville, and that's where Ocean Avenue is, in Atlantic Beach in Jacksonville. I'm going to Jacksonville in December because my mom lives there. I might do a pilgrimage down to the beach to get a photo with the Ocean Avenue sign, and that's going to be... When I get back on Facebook, which might be never, that's going to be my profile picture for the longest time.
Nice. Do it.
But there's a couple things I love about this song. There's like these bells kind of happening in part 2 of the verses. I always wondered how those sounds were made. It's very like intriguing to me. Like there's a part in the bridge where usually the bridge is like very heavy. It's like very on the crash cymbal, the heaviest the guitars will be. But something that I think is interesting is they brought it down to like a clean lead guitar and then hi-hats for the bridge, which seems so backwards and awesome, like just the opposite of what you'd expect. Always love that part. And something I wanted to get your opinion. Leave This Town and Run Forever is like the most, like, I don't know, pop punk circa 2011, 2012 thing you could think of. I never really associate Yellowcard with that kind of pop punk, I'm going to leave this town and never look back type vibe. Do you like...
Yeah, I think it was because a radio pop hit. I my question to you on that thought, what do you associate Yellowcard with?
See, and that's the thing. I don't really know.
Of the emotional roller coaster this record goes on, what do you, and this is a question for our listeners as well, at _Reminiscent FM, of all the highs and lows, mostly lows as we've noted, what, to me, this record, like, emotionally is best encapsulated by Empty Apartment, which we can talk about next. But
interesting.
To me, this record is like, that's how the listener would probably feel if they're choosing to enter this. I don't think they're like, hey, we're by the ocean and running away, baby. Like, I don't think anybody's like that hyped. Not to, I don't know. You raise a good point, because it's one of the best run forever anthems of the, subgenre of the time period.
Yeah.
I know we have all these qualifiers when we talk about the show, but that's what we're talking about. I think you're onto something there, but fairly or unfairly, I don't know. There's a song about his dad we'll talk about later and stuff. It's just kind of, there's a lot going on. There's enough going on to keep it from being like Bruce Springsteen's Born to Run. Like in rock, there's just people that want to get out of a town. That's not a new thing.
Right.
I don't think maybe they don't nail the point home enough. You know what I mean? To have been known as that once their first hit, I guess. Maybe they were bigger than their first hit enough. Maybe they had written such a good album that people didn't tie them to just the one song that was on the radio. You know what I mean? Like, this album got passed around. It wasn't like, hey, did you see that video? Or, hey, did you hear that song? It was, hey, did you listen to that new Yellowcard album? Because there's a violin on it and it's crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
It wasn't like, oh, Ocean Avenue is the only thing you need to know about this band.
Right.
It's the only thing that matters. Run forever, right? I think it was like they had more to say than just that, perhaps.
I mean, I mostly associate them with like water. Like, they talk about being by water a lot.
They and Mayday Pray have that in common.
Right. But I don't know, maybe it's a good thing that they're not pigeonholed into like, oh, like the Wonder Years. They're the band that talks about crippling anxiety, or like handguns. They're the band that talks about, whining about the girl and wanting to leave the town. It might be good that like I can't pinpoint like what does Yellowcard make me think of, because they make me think about a lot of things, I guess. So
well, let's revisit that by the end of the episode after we've covered all of the songs. What do you think this
Sure.
album is telling
Sure.
us? I'm going to give a God tier.
Oh yeah,
no reason to be stuffy with it. It's just a game. Sounds like you agree.
Yeah, totally.
I'm just going to preemptively award Empty Apartment with a God tier
Holy
right now.
What?
Yeah.
Wow. That's interesting, because I would give it like a B. I don't know, man. Like,
whoa.
Maybe it happens
out of town.
Maybe it
Shut
happens
the front
too
door.
early. I'll reference this
You
later.
you start too early. My notes for this are simply the F word. Let's see. I think it's just, to me, the emotional core of the album, like I mentioned. It's the first like truly emotionally vulnerable song on the record, I feel like a little bit. Mm-hmm. It's just like, hey, I'm running and I don't like this person, and I'm sitting here while they're breathing, and I'm running and I'm going to be way away from here, and Ocean Avenue will run all night, get out of this town. And then it's like, oh no, I got to the other place and it's empty and it sucks. It's like, and then he writes, and then the dad song comes after the Empty Apartment song. So it's just like, what the hell is going on with you, man? You know what I mean? Like, there's just, when you go from like fast Ocean Avenue, wow, to Empty Apartment and then Life of a Salesman, it's like, hey, it's like, oh my God, there's just, and then like, I don't know, only one goes later. I'm blowing through this too fast. Let's take it back. I'm just saying, like, for the first three to have what they are and what they bring, and then these next three songs, it's either a power move or it makes no sense. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I would have flipped a later song with this one, I think.
Whoa.
It's
at one point you got to establish that this is what you're going to start having to expect, though, with this collection of songs. But maybe you're right. Maybe this isn't the one they introduce it with. I'm not sure.
I just think like, okay, say Empty Apartment was like 2 songs later, you would have had a run of 5 songs. I mean, God, Miles Apart is super intense. Like, I feel like this whole album is very intense, except Empty Apartment and View from Heaven. And 1 year, 6 months maybe, but like the rest of them are like guns of freaking blazing. So I don't know, like at some point you have to slow it down. I kind of would have liked another song of like just raw intensity before Empty Apartment. Maybe that's what gets me. It's a good song. It's just like, it's not what I'm looking for when I'm listening to this album, I think.
Which is interesting to me because this album has a lot of those moments, I feel like.
Okay.
Don't me. They're just, it's factually correct.
Right.
Take your hms and shove them. Don't you Michael Barbaro me.
I'll give it a B just because it doesn't hit me the way I wanted to.
That's fine. Well, let's skip right along. There's more to get to.
Sure.
Let's go to Life of a Salesman, a song that is fast. It's fast. It's one of the fast ones. Do you think this should have been track 4 or 5 or whatever? Like, and do you like it? I don't know. I want to hear what you say about this song first.
No, I love this song, and I clearly remember kind of ripping it off. It was a huge inspiration for a song we wrote as a band called Alicia's Song that was about her father passing away. And it was like, I mean, I was like listening to the song as I was writing Alicia's Song, I think. And I remember Zach and I talking about it. It should have kind of these vibes. I love it. I love that he says dad at the end of every line. Like, my dad is my absolute fucking hero. So like, I really related to this song. I'm
going to say, dude. Can I get your ranking before I go?
I'll give it an A. I'm not done with my takes though.
Keep them coming.
Okay. Well, we'll hold out. Yeah. Okay. So I was like we were all very newly into writing music at the time and trying to figure out like what sounds you can make with a guitar, with our instruments, voices, whatever. And we didn't know that like guitar pedals existed really. And I just remember like that kind of intro of the guitar, like it has this weird sound, and it was so intriguing because I'd never heard anything. It was like the worst impression of it ever.
I knew exactly what you were talking about, but yeah, it was, as far as like sonically, not super accurate, but it got the job done.
Right, but like I had just never heard anything like it before, and I think that it's like so representative of this entire album because I was just so young and naive, never really heard anything like it that was like this fast without being like skate punk that had like no melody to it. So
I think that sums up their maturity as a band to come from the skate thrash scene and have such an emotional record.
Yeah, no, it's so good.
Also,
man.
Neil Avron was the most important dude in your life. You don't even know his name.
I know.
It's crazy.
Right. So lots of stuff. Halftime chorus is so good when it comes in. It's the first guitar solo we get in the album, and the ending.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, he's ripping. But like the end, the last chorus, it just goes through the chorus again with the vocals from the bridge jumping back and forth left and right ear. And like, I feel like this might be the first time I ever heard this like building and building of a chorus. I think it might have primed me for Brand New, which I would have discovered the next year, of just keep adding vocals over and over and introducing earlier parts into the last chorus. It's really good. It's composed very, very well. I love it. I love this song, but A tier, but still absolutely love it.
I'm going to go B. I'm going to give it our lowest grade in the game. I clutch thine pearls, Tom. Clutch them good, because do I have a take for you?
Oh, God.
Just kidding. I don't know why I talk like that sometimes. On this show only, like there's a weird 5th radio personality that's just bad at the job. So anyway, more on that later, or never. I think this song goes hard as any song on this album goes, and I want to love it so much. But I hate that it's about a dad. I think it's so, and not to be a hater, because this show is about supporting, liking music that you wouldn't necessarily blast out your car windows. We talk about it all the time. But I don't want to hear that much about it. I don't know. It's just like the dad part makes it so odd to me. I just really don't like it.
Damn, all right.
I don't know.
Pat hates his dad. Let's move on to only one.
No, I like my dad just fine, but it's none of your business. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's, I don't know. It's just like, gonna be a better man, dad. It's like, oh man, this is like a really good song, but that is just hitting me the wrong way. No disrespect. It's a very, I don't know. To me, it's like a little too, I don't know. Like pop punk from this era gets away with a lot lyrically in terms of weakness and softness and perceived whatever. This is just like, okay, I don't know. It just doesn't, I'm sorry. I got to be a hater on this one. It's a B. They can't all be firm A's.
Sure. No, that's fine.
They can't all be firm A's, Tom. Okay. On to the next, only one. On to the next one, the only one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Pat, what did you write?
We both wrote the same thing. And to save you an edit later, it is once again the F word. This is like Empty Apartment on not crack, but like crocodile. You know, when they start mixing cleaning products into the narcotics and it gets nasty and their skin is impacted by it. This is Empty Apartment on crocodile. And it just rips you to shreds.
Dude.
Like crocodile, honestly.
No, this song
internally.
This song is so intense.
A lot of crocodile in my head at the moment. I'm sorry.
No, the song is like so intense. I honestly can't even believe how they pulled it off. Like, I don't know what it's from, but it makes me think of like, they did it. Those sons of bitches did it.
They've done it. I love that.
Like, it should have been so much lamer or cornier for like how
like
over
I know you've
the top
never smoked in your life, but I'm picturing you putting down like a just smiling as the rocket veers into space outside of your basement window or something like
well, I'll be.
Yeah. Or here's a good example. That movie October Sky. Like someone peering out a West Virginia mining window to be like, I guess those boys really are going to live on to be something better than get out of this town. October Sky, there's a real punk movie about space. They get out of that small town. That's
my like top 5 favorite movies of all time, by the way.
It is just, you know what? Yellowcard. Let's talk about October Sky forever. I fucking love that movie, dude. When they get off the bus in Indianapolis, like big city, like just that's some like just some good Midwest geography. Nothing like a movie having like. I think that's why I like That Thing You Do. They talk about going to Pittsburgh from Erie. It's like
right.
I've been on those buses, man. I know that's okay. Stepping off in very chilly in the winter Indianapolis. Okay, just kidding. This is not fun anymore. Yeah. Back to your earlier point, you were very taken aback by how good the song is.
Oh yeah. I mean, you know how intense it is starting off, but like then the chorus hits. And I feel like this song like RKOs me like into the ground through the foundation, puts me in the dirt. Like it's not even just like laying on the floor. It's like you are beneath the foundation of your house. I can't believe, first of all, how massive this song is. How can you make music so intensely like in a production? And it's like, to me, the perfect song for an 8th grader to hear and be like, I know I want to cry, but I know I don't have the life experience to know why this song is so intense, but I feel it in my core. Like I'll feel this someday. And I don't know, like I'm longing, I'm angsting for future me right now or something. Like,
that's such a good way. There's a tweet that goes around every so often. Like memes just kind of repeat themselves sometimes, but it's like a child laying in the pouring rain, and it's just like me at the age of 11, listening to crying to a song about a relationship, even though I've never been in one or I haven't hit puberty yet or whatever. Just like I feel that way about this album as well. More so for the song 23, weirdly, which I guess we'll get to later. But yeah, it's huge. What more can you, I mean, like, it sounds like you like this a lot better than Empty Apartment.
Oh, this song is like, it's God.
Is it wrong for me to even compare them?
Not even close. They're two completely, it might as well be two different bands, dude. Like,
what
okay,
the hell is wrong? Are you even listening?
Dude,
all right.
They are ripping like a dual violin and guitar
feel like
solo.
You're choosing to look at Empty Apartment and be like, that song. but it fits and is as good for all the same reasons. I'm just like, I must have missed why you have a vendetta against this song. Empty Apartment. That's all.
I don't know, dude. I think it's just like the tone of, it's not so intense and loud. I don't know. I mean,
okay. So you like Only One. I'll give it a God tier too. I like it.
Dude,
it's great.
It's insane. Again, just ripping 16th notes on a snare drum, a dual violin and guitar solo, and I don't understand how they pulled it off. It's just like, how did they
Can we give
this?
a quick shout out? I don't want to just like mention like, hey, I heard that Ryan Key was kind of an asshole sometimes. Can we just for one moment props to his vocals?
He's so good. Yeah.
I think he's quite good he's the man for the job. I'll say that.
Sure. Yep.
I don't have much more of in-depth analysis on that one, but this lead singer can sing. There you go. That's what you come here for, people. Just really good music analysis. You want to? Shall we keep it moving?
Let's go. Miles Apart, baby.
Let's go, baby. What if we talk like? Let's treat it like a sports show.
Hey, Patty. Oh, okay, you're going different vibe. Patty, baby.
2 words in, and it was just, we couldn't even fake it. We couldn't even make it. Hey, let's do, that fake sports broadcasters bit we're famous for? I'm just kidding. Hey, Patty, we're just Italian. Because just Italian sports fans in that world, whatever that was. I love it so much. I want to revisit it someday, but we're running long. What the Tom, give me your best sportscaster. Hey, Patty! Like you're gonna walk me into an empty room and I'll be like, "What's this?" And then you shoot me. Like, no, not Goodfellas. I meant no. Anyway,
terrible at improv, Pat.
No, that's. I can't put into words how much I love that so much. Oh God, I'm just gonna. It's so. Okay. Miles Apart is a good song. I think we can start this. All right, Miles Apart. It's a good song. And you're saying here, I'm reading some of your notes. I don't want to steal your thunder, but big guitars. Everything feels huge on this record.
Yeah. And in music production, one of the biggest things is like you have a very limited amount of space to fit everything into. And I feel like they just fit so much into every track, like so much depth. It's honestly insane. Like I definitely think that Paper Walls, which is also Neil Avron, it's 2 albums later from Yellowcard, like is the pinnacle of music production. I think like if I could make my music sound like anything, it would be the production style of Cut Me Mick from Paper Walls. It's just so good, but it is just ripping in this. They did so much. It's all from the production, engineering, mixing, mastering, but really good, adds to the vibe. This is like it's kind of like the boy in one place, girl in another, but it kind of feels to me like it has this like hopeful twist to it. I
don't think this is true. But do you think he's like breaking up with the girl, leaving town, and then the arc of the album story is that he regrets it immediately and then starts thinking about his dad and because he's going so crazy? Or is there a through line, or is this just an emotional roller coaster with a bunch of different songs about a bunch of different things?
I don't think it's a concept album, but
yeah, okay.
yeah. Well, I don't know. I guess it's not hopeful.
I might be drawing lines that aren't there. I will say this: you mentioned the hopeful thing. I'll speak to your point instead of going off on something that doesn't really add up. Best outro. Best final fifth, final third of a song or whatever. I'd give it up for Just One More Day with You. That stuff is what I'm referring to.
Yeah.
My favorite outro, I guess, of the album. I think I feel pretty comfortable saying that. Yeah, like you said, it's kind of a positive thing. It's kind of like, and it like rocks and is very catchy and is very good. But his vocals are doing great. The song's doing great. The pacing is great. I like this song a lot.
I love it, man. It's so good. I would have swapped this with Empty Apartment in terms of track order to give like 6 just huge songs out of the gate, because this feels like a weird sleeper to put at song 7. But again,
what's weird about that is Empty Apartment and Only One can't be back to back. I mean, people are gonna die if you do that. You gotta think about people's
well, dude,
well-being.
4 Year Strong did it.
Well, hey, I'm gonna say Miles Apart. is it's kind of like when you go through the albums, you're like, okay, at some point your band sounds like your band. Why am I still staying tuned into this? Like this sounds like your music. Yes, but okay. The answer is I'd give it up for just one more day. It's just like, oh man, they're finding out ways to surprise me. This is still incredible. And like of a very high quality, all the way through. I gave Life of a Salesman a B, but not because it was a bad song musically. I just thought it was kind of an odd lyrical like direction.
Sure.
But it is probably the one that rocks the hardest. So I would say it's still so strong, miles apart. I'm gonna give it a God tier. It's one of my favorite songs on the record. I don't know, like you said, it leaves a good taste in your mouth. You're like, I will give it up for just one more day with you. I will tear it up and throw it all away. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I feel like I just want to give everything an A+, except for like the God tiers. It's
give it up, give it all away. Excuse me.
It's no, it's so good, dude. So good. The lyrics are great. A+.
God tier's a little strong. I'll admit that's what I want to give it, but I don't know if that's accurate.
Okay,
I'm speaking with my emotions on that one.
That's fine,
A+,
man.
A+ is fine.
Okay.
23 is the song that I related to. It's one of those songs I talk about a lot on this show. I was like, this is my life. This is it right here. But I had not had any type of relationship that would have come close to being what is described in this song at all. Not only wasn't I 23 at the time, in fact, I was
13.
Not even in, not 20, not 18, not 16. Right. 10 years off, give or take. I like the new singer. It goes fast. It rocks hard. The little like, it's not even a chicka chicka. It's just like many chicka chickas fast as the chicka chickas can chicka chicka. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, they're still rocking hard deep into the album. And I don't know. I just like it. I think it rocks. I love this song. There's something about it just made sense to me.
It's really good. Something that I didn't, well, first of all, it's a different singer in the beginning and throughout. Something that didn't occur to me when I first heard the song is like, the other singer, not Ryan, whoever it is, said something about like, watch him fall apart. And then Ryan says, watch me fall. And it kind of sounds like one bro sticking up for his other bro. Like, I can't believe you did Ryan like that. Like, how could you do my boy like that? Like, it's just so funny. But it's a good, really good fast song. Not much else to say.
Pop punk hype man doesn't come off quite as hard.
Right. But one line that I really, really did like was so much that I said to you, and I want to take it back now. I have been there at like 18 or 19. And we've relived a lot of that trauma on the show, but really good song, really fast, different. It's a change up of kind of a vibe and tone, different singer. It's good. I'll give it an A, but yeah.
The Wasted on You bridge, I think, when you're younger, maybe you just lock into certain lyrics. I think we talked about how you and I would do that. It's like, oh, this is the song I listen to for this very specific reason. Maybe.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure how much, I don't know. It's hard to say why I would have been in that frame of mind. But I think reading these lyrics now, I think that's what it would have been, what would have drawn me to it. But really, again, no way would I have actually been able to relate this to anything. Because if you've only been alive for like a decade, how much time could you have wasted on anything? You're going to the
right.
park, you're going to the playground, like
right.
Anyway. But anyway, yeah, me was like, yeah, man, yeah, this is telling my life story. I really owe it. I owe this band a lot. I'm gonna say A+. I'm gonna try to. My teen me would be mad. He'd be like, you're crazy. You know how many playlists this thing was on for you? For all the stuff this song did for you, you're gonna give it an A. But yeah, I am.
Okay, cool. Well,
all right. You want to pick it up a little bit?
Yeah, let's go to View from Heaven.
Here's my big question for this. Do the Wonder Years write "Hey, thanks" if View from Heaven wasn't on this Yellowcard record?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, okay. I thought I was going to blow your mind a little more with that one. Because I don't know, it's like a slower, very different sounding than the rest of the record song with a female backing vocalist. And I think it has a lot of parallels, but it's kind of like an album trope that I think maybe if you ask Soupy, maybe he would say no. But I think probably it had been something that's been done before. So they're like, hey, we can do this. Yellowcard did it. It's a song I want to write and put on the album. So it's not that crazy. I don't know. That's just what I thought about this week listening back.
No, it's fun. It's a really fun drum beat. I always really liked it. The dude's like straight up fiddling in this song. It's very different.
Yeah, it's got some like country guitar sounding
Yeah.
Like, it's very different. Like, not just slower, it's different. Different.
Absolutely. Different, total shift in, I don't know, genre or whatever. But it's good. I always really liked the lyrics. I'm sure the View from Heaven beats the hell out of Mine Down Here is like just a really, I don't know, a good line, the heaven and hell. I thought it was really clever. I always really liked this song. But again, I'm coming to Ocean Avenue for like, I always think about like the first 3 songs, like that intensity. So I've always loved View from Heaven. I never find myself longing for it, but it's still an A track. It's very good. And it's cool that they kind of shook it up a little bit.
I'll say A, and do you want to speak a little bit? You looked this up. I had heard the story as well. It wasn't about I don't know why I thought it would have been about a girl, but it was about one of their buddies.
Yeah, and the band Inspection 12 died in a car crash.
His name was Scott Shad, you found?
Scott Shad, yeah. That's what I read anyway, but yeah.
Yeah, he was doing an interview where it was kind of like a driving force. Obviously, his presence is felt on the album. There's a lot of talk about death and everything like that, but I guess he was a really close friend, like best friend from childhood, maybe something like that. I might be butchering the story, but kind of interesting insight into what was on their minds at the time.
Yeah.
And sad. Very sad to lose a good friend like that. These last few are where we get to expose ourselves as superposers, I think. Because I was listening to this record all week, and I was like, wow, these songs aren't even hitting my ears because I've heard them so much. Yeah. Like, I can't even remember what the emotions were. I don't know if you ever get that, like, album fatigue. Like, wow, I need to wait a lot longer before I listen to this again. Because sometimes it just lands. It's just like repetition. It's like, I don't know, listening to a tape about how to speak Spanish or something. It's just like words that are hitting my brain. It's just like, oh yeah, okay, I'm learning. This is something my brain is familiar with or something. But then I got to the last 4 and I'm like, oh, maybe I'm not as hardcore as I thought. Because a lot of these I had remembered hearing, but don't have I'm not going to say groundbreaking opinions on either of them. So stay tuned, folks, for the next 10 minutes. I'm just kidding. But I'll let you kind of take the reins if you don't mind.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel similarly. Inside Out, I totally forgot existed. But once I heard it, remembered like every melody, every word. It's good. It kind of has, there's some songs that make me think of this cartoon where he's like walking down a sidewalk 2-dimensionally and he's like kind of bouncing as he's walking to like the beat. And it kind of has that vibe to me. I mean, it's fun, but kind of forgettable. It feels like it was written for a different band, and I was trying like really, really hard to think of like who else would have written this. And it makes me feel like an earlier Good Charlotte could have written this, and like I totally could hear like the record scratches and like, yeah, get up like in the middle of it. Oof. If it was like a little more kind of weird, like hip hoppy inspired, it had that tempo. I don't know, man. It was interesting to revisit the song because I didn't remember it. It's fine. It's a B, but I like it. Right?
Let's backtrack 1 second. View from Heaven, should it have made our drive home playlist?
Well,
because he says late night drive in that song and stuff, and I thought about that. I'm like, man, we hiffed on that one.
Especially if it's about a car accident, maybe don't associate it with our drive at night.
Well, but I'm saying he talks about being alone on the road, thinking about some things.
Maybe.
I'm just saying.
But I do want to say that one of these songs did make it on our drive home playlist. So we're good. Back Home.
Which one?
Back Home.
Get out of town. Really?
Yeah.
Must have been your pick.
It absolutely was. I love that song.
I'm going to give A-minuses to these last 4 songs. I am bowing out. I am the poser of all posers for these. They're not even coming to mind at the moment.
Okay.
You did not pick back. Well, good for you. That's a good pick.
All right. So you're just done. You're out.
I'm not like done being your friend, and I'm not done doing this program. I'm just letting everyone know that I'm leaning on you on this one.
But I do want to say I'm checking Apple Music right now, and Back Home is definitely on the playlist, and it wasn't even an honorable mention. It was actually on there.
A draft pick. Okay, so we're working towards some anecdotes.
So
perhaps
Believe, a 9/11 song. Yeah. I remember.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Oh, dude, listen to the lyrics for like half a second.
or listen to it at all. I am so sorry.
So I remember this song very intensely. Again, I didn't really explore the album as a whole, I think, until probably 2005. But 2003, I had Ocean Avenue, Only One, and Believe were like the three singles that I had. And I remember being like,
oh,
this one.
Yeah, I usually when we do the albums, I know them so well I don't have to Google everyone towards the end.
Right.
When we do 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge or whatever, that would be an example if we ever do that one, which of course we probably will. Okay, everything's good. Yeah, this is a very, I know the lyrics to this and I'm reading them now. Why I didn't know this was a 9/11 song, I have no idea. I'm going to give this one an A+ instead of an A-. Now that you think about it. Something about the repetition there. Man, they just have a way to make you feel like they're making good noises. I don't know. They're good at making music, man.
So again, the guitars rock so hard. The violin is righteous. I remember like 2003, 2 years removed from 9/11, right? I was in 5th grade and didn't really understand the magnitude of it, but I remember listening to the song and being like, oh, this is about 9/11. And I remember it being like, feeling weird that like other people know about 9/11 too. Like it's not just something that I know about. I remember it being so weird to see like something other than coverage on the news, but like music that I listened to is also talking about it. This is a bigger deal than I think I realized in my 10-year-old brain at the time. But one of the anecdotes from this song is at one point in your AIM profile, I don't know why I remember this, you had like a list of songs that had the phrase like, it'll be okay, everything will be all right. And I remember sending you like 2 ideas to put in your AIM profile. And one of them was from this song, Everything is going to be all right, be strong, believe. I sent to contribute to your AIM profile. And
because I was keeping track of how often that line "everything's going to be all right" is used.
And this is, of course, before we probably knew about Motion City soundtrack.
No, Motion City was in there. I think Josie was in there, stuff like that. No, I was keeping a pretty long running list, and that's interesting that you even remember that. It was like the only time I used the MySpace blog function.
Oh, was it MySpace?
I also used it. Yeah, it was MySpace. I also used it to keep track of how many times in the album Pinkerton I thought he was referencing masturbation, which is maybe more, maybe less than what I thought, but it's definitely a sexually frustrated record for sure. But we're not here to talk about that. Okay. Yeah, those are my 2 MySpace blogs. We're just collections of lyrics about that, very different types of lyrics. But yeah, no, Everything is all right was definitely one of them.
So in this song, I really like that they use like a different snare for like the down, the more mellow chorus, something like Real Tight, love details like that in the production. And the TV broadcast always freaked me the out listening to this. I remember like it just making me uncomfortable. But it's very clear what the song is about. Ryan was saying that they like cut this as a single and like sent them out to first responders as like a thank you for your service type thing, which, you know, is interesting. It's an interesting move depending on your intentions. It can seem kind of slimy. I don't really know. I'm sure they did it with good intentions. But it's
people
interesting.
Weren't really messing with that type of stuff back in the day.
Right. So
back in the day,
I'll give it.
It wasn't like the 1950s or anything, but yeah, I mean, like when it happened, people weren't exactly like people were hanging newspaper American flags in their windows and stuff.
Right.
I'm sure they did it with the best intentions.
Right. So it's good. A+, sure. One of the earliest memories of this band, but we can move it along 1 year, 6 months if you want to.
I'm in it. Yeah.
We hear an acoustic guitar for the first time, and I love the tone of it.
I was going to say that.
Yeah. Super interesting. It's good. It's a great slow chorus. They really drag out all the syllables in that. Like I have memories of listening to this song and feeling it at the time, and I can't really like pinpoint what I was doing, but for some reason I remember a paved concrete driveway or something. I have thoughts of Yellowcard. It reminds me of Outside in the Sun at Summer, which is probably what they're going for. But there's something in the chorus where the harmony splits and one goes up and the harmony goes down. I always thought that was like really cool. Didn't know you could do that. And then the With You that goes into the falsetto reminds me of an early Still Frame Sky song, which was like our hometown hero band that everyone loved. I used to absolutely worship them. And listening to the With You, I swear they just straight up stole that from this song. But really good. It's a really good song. I'll give it an A.
Tony was in that band too. Maybe he brought it along with him. He's like, guys, have you heard of a little band called Yellowcard?
Right. It's good. It's a really nice break. It's a really good way to prep you for the ending of the album, I think. It was very well placed.
Yes.
What do you give it? A minus?
A minus. Yeah, I'm for real want to apologize, but when I listen to this album, I'm realizing, View from Heaven feels like the final song that my brain kind of establishes, but I know when Believe was playing earlier, I know, everything is going to be, it's in my brain, it's in my head, but really like, I guess when you listen to From Under the Cork Tree, for example, like maybe I was just less familiar with this record than I thought, but like my question for you is, you must have truly gone front to back with this frequently, because Back Home was a very important song for you.
I love this song. Yeah.
Yeah.
Back Home is a god tier for me. I love it. So like the story of Yellowcard, I guess, is they're from Jacksonville, and I guess they really loved it there, but they moved to LA or to Southern California for like a better chance of their fame. And he was always kind of like longing for the place where he came from. Ocean Avenue wasn't written about a girl. He said it was written about like a place. Like it was written about the beach in Jacksonville, Florida. Like he really missed it and he wanted to, to be there again. And Back Home is like, I never liked Erie, our hometown, but like, especially when I would go back home and I like didn't really have any friends there anymore, like after college. And there's something about, I don't know what I was looking for when I went home. I found me alone. And like, I would go home and just be like, oh my God, I don't really like Arlington, Virginia either, but I want to go back, dude. This isn't my life anymore. And I did go through a time in college where I got homesickness about 6 months in, and then I went home and was like, but this isn't my life anymore. Like it was the most like cognitive dissonance I think I ever felt in my life, of longing for this place, getting it, and just being like, this doesn't make sense anymore. And it was a very transitional moment. And I kind of get that vibe from this song, and that's why I really like it. I love how he says California and pulls it off expertly somehow. Like,
yeah.
I'm sure back home they'd love to see it. Like, it's just so, like, it seems very sincere and nostalgic. It's a great way to end the album, and it ends, another starry night. It ties it off with a nice bow. It's really good, man.
Yeah. I sometimes wonder, like, very specific times in my life, like Erie, then Athens, Ohio, then Albuquerque for a few years out of college. Returning to any of those places would feel, Erie especially would be the only like realistic one out of those three. But is this just representative of a time and a place that was different? And would it be weird to go back and try to recreate something that was something that should be left as is? You mentioned Arlington. That was your life forever. You're like your whole adult life anyway.
Yeah, totally.
It's kind of weird with those types of things. I don't know if I'm allowed to say you're moving to North Carolina soon. I don't know if you're like having any moving stuff or memories of moving, but we will be living in the same state for the first time in years.
Yeah, we'll be within 3 hours of each other in November.
So I'm curious. Yeah, ever since leaving Albuquerque, I've been bouncing around Cincinnati, Cleveland, now in North Carolina, but we'll be in the same state for the first time. Maybe this will start feeling like home after a while. I've only been here a year, so who's to say?
Yeah.
Who's to say?
Yeah, I've never really had a strong feeling of home. And I'm hoping this will be it. I mean, we're going to move there and, set some roots and just prepare for like a different stage of life. And I'm hoping that we love it. We're moving sight unseen. The way we did to Denver.
You are kicking off yes, it will be a new chapter of your life in a brand new place. Like it's not going to be Denver, not going to be Arlington. That's for sure.
It's going to be
definitely a new phase.
Wild, but yeah, dude, Back Home, it's a great way to end the album. It has a lot of emotion attached to it. Like, I feel this song in the depth of my soul, and I really, really do love it.
Yeah, I'll go A+.
Yeah. God
I know
tier.
it's God tier for you.
It's a God tier album across the board. Even if like I think one song's
yeah.
a B, a few are an A. It's one of the best albums of the decade, of our generation, of an era. It's just really, really good. I really appreciate any time that I have with this record. It was so fun to like revisit it and really try to like dig up some emotions around it and talk with you about it. I know we already spent a lot of takes on Ocean Avenue, which again, if you want to listen to that episode, it is available, but just good, great, really, really good. And like, it's not like their ability to write incredible songs stopped with this album. They continued, I think, 2 more full albums of like God tier material. So good band, dude. Like,
yeah. What's interesting is I really only listened to Ocean Avenue, the album, and I'm realizing today here that I was only really intimately familiar with 2/3 of that one even. So,
yeah,
you know, this is kind of the first time I've been caught with my, you know, I feel kind of guilty even recording. You know, we didn't exactly pull a Jimmy Eat World episode all over again. You saved me at the end, and I appreciate that. But yeah, I'm really like, man, maybe, you know, I do love this record is one of the very important ones of my life. But yeah, I guess I would have to admit that I kind of tuned out. I didn't really support Yellowcard as a fan after this record at all. I didn't listen to Lights and Sounds. I thought it was Lightning and Sounds, as I mentioned earlier in the episode. Like, I don't even know what the the album was named and stuff. So yeah, I should have given them more. But they're done. They're not a band anymore.
Yeah.
There's like Bad Blood, right? Not Bad Blood, but like they are no longer,
right.
They're not going to add a different musician to replace whoever wanted to call it quits. I don't think it was Ryan Key. But at least 2 of the members, based on an interview I was listening to him, involving him, he was saying at least 2 of the members, including him, would be willing to start it back up again. But I guess they made a decision as a band to just, you know, we're done. They had a final farewell tour pretty recently, right?
Well, I have to say, and there's no reason to be rude, but I think their last 2 albums, in my opinion, which are Worthless and Trash, were unlistenable. So, you know, whatever. But Lights and Sound and Paper Walls are also masterpieces. They continue to write incredible songs for the Spider-Man soundtrack. That might be one of their best songs. It's a good band. And I really have to thank Aaron Lonke for like challenging me to like, dude, you've got to listen to Lights and Sound. Like, you have to. And he was really pushing for it. He like burned me their CDs. He was like everyone's biggest advocate, but he's like, Lights and Sound.
He's just a good guy.
You gotta. And I'm really grateful that like I would go over to his house and he would just be like, let's just sit down and listen to Yellowcard.
It's still amazed to me that people have been so patient with you in their life.
I know, dude.
Tom, please. I don't even care if we're not friends anymore after this. You need to. You know.
Right.
Song of the week. You want to wrap it up?
Yeah, man. The YouTube algorithm sent me to a good place. I forget what I was listening to, but it had me on Pure Noise Records, just kind of sending me through the song False Start by Eastwood. Never heard of the band, but this song has been on repeat for days and days and days. And I can't wait for the album to come out. Their previous record, not as good as what this is, but False Start by Eastwood. So good. Really feel good, mellow song.
I'm going to say the Bill and Ted Face the Music movie's coming out. There was like a Weezer music video that was released recently called Beginning of the End. You know, this Van Weezer phase has been kind of a laugh, but I'm going to say the Beginning of the End was like, there's some claps, there's some whoos, there's some stuff. You know, I was into it, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
I'll watch the movie. I'm excited for it. I wasn't like a huge Bill and Ted, like this is my stuff, but I'm intrigued by Keanu Reeves' life and how he carries himself. He seems like a quality
stand-up guy.
One of the few quality humans we've got. So
right.
I'll support the endeavor.
Cool. All right. Yeah. Well, let's head to the post show for Patreon and give them some extra bonus content. Patreon.com/reminiscent. And we'll be back next week with some good Charlotte and band sponsored episode. Excited to get some new music on the show. So that'll be fun.
Getting some music on the show.
Well, Pat, it was, again, great as always to discuss one of my favorites with you. And I love it, man.
You whooped me this week. We didn't play that type of game, but I've failed you this week. I'm leaving this with my tail between my legs. I'm going back to Jacksonville.
It's all good, man. I had a lot of fun, and I love you, dude, and I love you all, and talk to you next week.
Thanks for even being here, everybody. All right, love you, Tom. Bye.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Reminiscent. Please hit us up on Twitter @_reminiscentfm. Let us know what songs are God tier from Ocean Avenue by Yellowcard. If you'd like to check out the post show, go to patreon.com/reminiscent, and please check out our sponsor of Brighter Skies. Song is coming in just a couple seconds. Check out their music video for Bad Guy on YouTube. The link is in the show notes. Thank you all so much. We love you. Talk to you next week. Bye, everyone.
And I can't make you wanna stay. But if you do, I promise I'll change. I'm singing these words to an empty room, and without you, this house is not a home.